In this call, I'm talking to a design build company in the DMV area. They're doing about $3 million a year. So far it's April, they've done 1.2 million and they're trying to break 6. In this call, you're gonna learn their problems, where they're at, what they're trying to do, and how we're gonna fix it. And I hope that this video helps you scale your company.
Well, I always like to ask, what made you reach out in the first place? That might be asking.
Boosting sales, I guess, is the most obvious answer. We of course believe that the process in the pipeline is not 100% optimized naturally, and seeing a company that specializes kind of in design and build caught our eye.
Tell me a little bit about your company in terms of the types of jobs you're doing right now and what your capacity is at.
So it's a design and build, bathroom and kitchen initially. Right now we're expanding to additions and insurance jobs. With that, the average ticket has risen from 40 to 50K last year to 70K this year. Regarding the percentage of revenue generated, now 24% of our revenue is being generated as for additions this year, 2026, and 20% kitchen, 17% bathrooms, and so on. So we operate in DC, Virginia, Maryland. What else? Profit margins 35 to 40%, and the trailing revenue we have at the moment is 3.4 million, with 1.2 being this year.
Gotcha. And so you're trying to do more ADUs, correct? Or home additions?
Yeah. This year we're aiming to break the 6 million mark, and we aim to achieve that through breaking into this additions market and insurance.
So shout out to Renato and his company. He has really healthy gross margins. I tell design builders and high-end remodelers, if you're not above 30% gross margin, you are not going to be very profitable. And so you always want to make sure you're pricing your jobs at 30%. If not, it's not worth taking the job. Again, your net will never be more than your gross. So make sure your gross is healthy. You're trying to focus on additions, which is one of my favorite renovation projects because it's very expensive. You get good customers and the scope of work is really nice and it keeps the teams busy for a while. Big ticket item. And so I'm a big fan. So the rest of this call is going to be tailored more towards helping them figure that out because we've done that for multiple design builders in different markets. So let's get into it.
How do you get your leads right now currently?
Marketing, paid media, Google Ads. We have Google Ads, we have Meta, we have Web, we have website, we have Yelp. Most of the revenue is being generated at the moment through Web and Yelp. To Web, Google Ads, and Yelp. We haven't been able to close too efficiently with Meta clients. And of course, that's not counting referrals and walk-ins. We have a showroom as well.
Got you. Okay.
Let's say March, we had 142 leads. We sent 37 proposals, and we made 9 sales.
And so when you say you had 142 leads, that's a mixture, right? Of the Google Ads, Meta Ads, Web, Yelp, referrals, and walk-ins.
Correct.
Okay. Good amount of volume. What is that? 37 proposals out of 140? 26% rate. And then you said 9, so 25% close rate. Wow, that's actually pretty good.
Well, you have to keep in mind the funnel time, though. Our funnel time right now is around 35 to 40 days. So many of those sales are not from that month, but trailing.
Got you.
Especially with additions, they just take longer to close. So oftentimes it's not a 1 month lead, 1 month close.
Yeah, for sure. No, I completely understand. Like where did those 142 come from? And like the ones that closed, where did they come from?
All right. Yeah, so most is coming through Meta. However, most of the Meta ones don't convert to appointments. For example, let's say 40 come through Meta, 14 of those become appointments. And at the same time, 35 come from Yelp. And out of those 35, 15 also become appointments. So Yelp is more effective on that sense for us.
Mm-hmm.
And we're closing also more from Yelp. We're closing, let's say in March, we're closing 2 from Yelp and just 1 from Meta. The rest comes through the website, referrals, previews, and walk-ins in that order.
So Renato and his company definitely have a lead engine that's generating them consistent flow of leads every single month. It's great. They're on Google, Yelp, they're running Facebook ads, they have referrals, and they have a showroom. So they're kind of hitting the lead gen system really hard. This is a lesson. They're investing a lot on marketing, and there's a reason why their pipeline is so full. Of course, lead quality is a big problem, so that's something that we're going to be taking a look at and see what's under the hood and how we can help them fix that.
So who does the sales typically? Is it you?
No, we have estimators in the US. We have three sales representatives. They do consulting sales. They go to the house, they take the measurements, then they go back to the office with the measurements, and the proposal teams takes care of doing the estimating or the design. If the project needs a design, let's say it's a kitchen, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we send the proposal and they make the follow-up and close.
Got you. Okay. Interesting structure.
Textbook sales motion here. We got basically a site visit being scheduled that turns into a design agreement that turns into, credit the design towards your build if you move forward with us. So I'm not really going to complain there. It could be improved, but overall that's a really good foundation as long as they're following that consistently.
Yeah, I see this a lot actually. I'm gonna share my screen because this company does ADUs specifically. And yeah, Facebook is always like that. I was wanting to look at your ads because there's a lot of things in terms of reducing the amount of leads that come in from Facebook by adding friction. So like adding more steps in the funnel, adding more things like that, adding budgets. That's just one thing I would say. I can't see your ads for some reason. So I can't give you like off the fly notes or any tips on that.
The way we have done that, the thing is Facebook brings us many low intent leads.
Mm-hmm.
So the friction right now we're introducing is through the first contact. On the first contact, they need to answer like a series of questions. Mm-hmm. And if we believe that lead is not highly qualified, we don't make the appointment. We just send them into a nurturing stage. And in that nurturing stage, we wait and we send like information, emails, or blogs until they're in high intent, and then we schedule, because especially because if we schedule every single Meta lead, we're going to have our salesmen just running around.
Yeah, just driving around all day, not doing anything.
Right.
Yeah. No, I got you. I actually have some data here on additions specifically from Meta ads, so this might be interesting just to show you. I don't know if you can see. So this is from this company. Let me show this tab. This is a design builder in Boston, and just to show you our cost per lead and all of that stuff here. So we were targeting home additions, and so we over 14 months we had 216 leads. Out of those, 76 booked appointments. Out of that, we had 23 proposals sent and 13 signed. Our average ticket on that for the ADUs was, I believe, 214,000, if I'm not mistaken. So I wanted to ask you, like, what is your average ticket for an ADU? I know it can range, but typically, like,
let me double check that. 1 second. 180.
Okay, cool. So this is like right around the same sweet spot.
Right.
So yeah, so the reason why I was saying that was because, like, I feel like this is just for Meta, and so I would say that like a 30% booking rate is actually typically like pretty average across the board, especially for these higher. I think with a little bit of maybe like how you said, adding friction and those sort of things, I think you can bump that up to 30. I personally, I think like we've spent probably last year across all of our clients probably a little bit over 1.5 million on Meta on ad spend. We don't really touch Google that much besides Google LSA and obviously like the Google organic stuff. I don't really touch Google ads. I've just seen like a lot of private equity companies come in, they'll buy a company and they'll just outspend everybody. And with the whole AI search, I'm not saying it might work for you guys, but I just haven't seen it work as effectively. It's just pretty expensive nowadays. So I don't really touch that. Yelp, that's great if that's working for you. I know it kind of just depends. It's market to market. Some markets they use like House or Angie's, just depends. But you guys have a showroom too. So have you ever tried running Facebook ads that are very specific to having people come into the showroom?
No, not yet. That is one of the strategies we're planning on doing. We just got a new conference room where we're planning to get people in and kind of make in-person presentation instead of just sending them through email. But yeah, we need to use the showroom more, 100%.
Yeah, because that would be one of the things that I would look at with the Facebook ads. If you can get them to just directly book in to come to the showroom, that's probably a higher quality, or that's the way you can add friction as well. But you said your goal is to get to 6 million and you're trying to do it with ADUs. I wish I could look and see. Do you know what your cost per lead is right now on Facebook?
Yeah, on Facebook it's 68.
68, okay. And you said 20% is qualified. So we're looking at 68 times 5, which is about 340 cost per qualified.
Yeah, Google Ads is for sure the most expensive one. We're paying 327 right now per lead.
327 per?
Yeah.
And are they qualified, would you say?
Yeah. I mean, our cost per lead is higher, but the cost per sale is lower. We have 6K there in comparison to 9K on Meta.
So this is super key. What he mentioned is that his cost per lead on Google is higher, but his cost per acquisition is lower than on Facebook, where his cost per lead is lower, but his cost per acquisition is higher. All that means is that some advertising platforms are cheaper to get leads, but because the quality is lower, it's still more expensive than if you were to pay a premium for other platforms. I'm a big believer that you can make Facebook leads more expensive and higher quality leads by adding more friction. I would rather add a ton of friction and use Meta to market my company than to pay a premium on Google when AI search traffic is killing Google as we currently speak. That's just my take on it. Again, if it works for your company, great, double down on it. But again, for me, I would just rather get the leads from Facebook, add friction, even if my cost per lead goes up.
Okay, so just to recap and tell me if I'm missing anything. So
sure.
$3.4 million in trailing. You have good healthy margins, 40 to 50K now, split at 70K. You do mainly design, build, kitchen, and bath, but now you're trying to get into the ADUs and the restoration side, or the insurance side. You basically run Google Ads, Meta Ads, Web, Yelp, referrals, and walk-ins. And in March, just for an example, you had 142 leads. Obviously, they might have came in from sooner, but 37 proposals and then 9 sales. I mean, you guys already have like tons of data. So like from the data that you see, what is the constraint that you're trying to solve? Is it really just get more volume, or is it something in the middle of that funnel where it's like improving some of the filtering and stuff like that? Like, what do you think is really going to move the needle?
If we can make somehow the cheaper Meta leads work better, like you just mentioned in this case study, I think that would be wonderful, because right now we haven't been able to make them work, and I think our final time on Meta is something ridiculous, like 80 days. So if we can close that gap, that's going to be a big goal, because right now we're closing way more expensive leads coming from Google. So
got you.
Just looking for effectiveness, really.
And that's where Meta got you. Yeah, I would definitely. I want to say that our CAC on our customer acquisition cost on ADUs is like less than $6,000 for this client, if I'm not mistaken. So, and the average ticket is closer to 200 something. So yeah, and you said you were spending close to $6,000 though on Google, right?
And Google, let me check. Google, we have spent on March 9K.
9K. So what are you guys spending per month right now in total on marketing?
Total March 20.
Okay. Is that what you guys say you spend roughly per month?
Yeah,
Okay.
Recap, the number one metric in business is going to be your lifetime gross profit to CAC. This company has an average ticket of 70,000. They have about a 40% gross margin. So on every job, they're making about $28,000 in gross profit on average. They're spending between $6,000 and $9,000 in customer acquisition cost. So they're basically spending $7,500 blended to make close to $30,000 in gross profit, which is a 4-to-1 return. Anything above 3-to-1 is technically healthy and can be scaled, but I would like to see this return to be more closer to the 6 to 8x return. Meaning he needs to get his customer acquisition cost down from 7,500 to closer to that 5K mark. And then I also want him to increase his average order value. So by marketing for bigger, larger renovation, larger scope projects, because then he already has healthy margins. So we're basically going to increase how much he makes in gross profit while decreasing how much it costs him to get the lead. And that is where we'll be able to unlock, and he'll be able to spend from 20 grand a month. He can spend 50 grand a month, and everything will still be dialed in and still be ultra profitable.
So tell you what. So what I'm going to do is I have multiple clients who do, and you said ADUs is what you're trying to focus on, break into.
Right.
Okay. I'll go through all of our clients, go through each ad that we're running on Meta. I'll send you the ads that we run. I'll send you the landing pages we use. I'll send you the qualification friction that we add. And then I'll send you some of the stats.
Just to check if we're like adding friction where we need to add it. I feel like maybe we are overlooking the importance of just adding it on the first step. And right now we're bringing those leads in and then sending them to a nurturing process. So perhaps if we can add friction in the first step, either through, I don't know, like you said, like landing page or like,
yeah, I would say adding
budget, right?
Landing page for sure. I can give you some off the top of my head. Landing page for sure. Having ads that are very specific to, like, for example, just an ADU. And if you're running just an ADU ad, if you know, like, you can't really build an ADU for less than 150,000. I'm just giving you an example. You'll know your numbers. 150,000 should be the lowest budget option. There shouldn't be anything lower than that, because then all the people who have a $50,000 budget, they'll look at the budget and they'll be like, oh, never mind, this isn't for me.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing is we have calculators, and I'll send it to you after. But it's basically just anytime somebody reaches out for an ADU lead, we send them a calculator that basically just looks at previous jobs, and it's like a dynamic calculator. I'll send it to you right after this because it'll make more sense. But
yeah, I think I've seen those, like, just for SaaS though.
Yeah, exactly. It's like exactly like that, but it's more just to like give them a range of what a job would cost based on how much square footage, if it's a second floor edition or just ground floor edition, whatever. And basically we do that because, like, as soon as the lead comes in, we want to send them so that they can play with something, just to have an idea, so that before our sales team calls them, they already have an idea on what the price is. Also, recording a VSL video. I know I'm getting a little tactical, but like if you're marketing additions, just be like, hey, like, thank you for reaching out. You send this to them as soon as or it could be on the landing page, but we like to send the videos as a link to them. It's a little bit easier that way for us. But it's just explaining, like, hey, we saw that you're interested in, a home edition. Here's kind of our 3-step process. Typically, it can range from this to this. Here's how we go about it. We're looking forward to talking to you. And it kind of pre-frames them. And then they can have a place to schedule if they'd like to, or you can follow up. But those are just examples of adding friction, because I know exactly Facebook leads are notorious for bringing in junk. But if you do certain things like that to filter it, and I'll send you a list and some examples to make it a little bit more useful.
Anyway, that's a lot for this call. So I hope you guys found some value. We're going to be dropping calls like this with our clients and different design builders and remodelers across the nation. If you'd like help with scaling your company, you can reach out to us. My name is Jordan Reddy. I'm the founder of Reddy Media, and I will see you on our next video. Drop a comment if you have any questions. Please subscribe. It makes it worth the time invested into making these for you, and I will see you next time. Thank you.